Hey, have you guys ever heard of Patreon?
I think I have.
Yeah, I think it's like a royal guard.
It's that maybe, but also it's a website where podcasters and other creators can get people to give them money for making their product.
You mean we can get paid for this?
Kind of. For a mere $3 a month, you, loyal listener, can feed or get drunk a starving podcaster.
I feel like we need some like Sarah McLachlan behind this kind of. I will remember you.
I almost did with arms wide open. I was like, that's not the song.
That's how you get people to not give you money.
So check it out. Patreon.com/worstpeople. That's WORSE. $3 a month. You get access to exclusive episodes. Find us, love us, support us. Thank you. Welcome back. This week it's DirkA Classic Movies and the Wild Angels. Right? Yep. I'm Derek.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Jack.
This is Bad Movies,
Worst People.
We want to get fucked. We want to get loaded. We want to do what we want to do.
What you had said, I want to get fucked.
I want to get fucked. This whole thing is already ruined, guys.
We'll try it again. Welcome back, DirkA Classic Movies. This week we talk about the Wild Angels. I'm Dirk. I'm Whitney. I'm Jack. And I want to get high. Roll it.
Got it.
Cut it.
Cut, print.
That's it. That's the peak of my existence.
So yes, this is another installment of DirkA Classic Movies where I make these guys watch movies from before the 70s usually. And
yeah, but this time you made yourself watch it too because you didn't screen it.
This one I've not seen before. I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, well, we just did Stone Cold. So this kind of relates to that.
The trailer, whoever did the trailer editing deserves any award for this movie. And that's it.
Because they made it seem like it was a movie with a story, a beginning, a middle, an end, conflict.
Yeah. This had conflict.
Kinda.
Well, it had lots of conflicts,
yeah.
but not conflict. Like there was no movie, like story conflict. There was no like
kinda between Blue and Mike, or Blues and Mike.
I guess that's just
barely
so,
though.
Yeah, that's so backstage.
And it's like, and then the whole story with Blues being Peter Fonda's character, the house. Something question mark?
Heavenly Blues.
And he was the prez.
Yeah, he was the prez.
But I think this is going to be a weird episode for us because this movie has almost zero plot. I mean, we could sum it up so quick and then just go through the scenes.
I mean, and I read the plot summary and I was like, okay, that's what this movie is about. But that was the first 20 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
We have Peter Fonda playing Heavenly Blues. We have Bruce Dern.
Oh, playing the loser.
And basically, Bruce Dern's bike was stolen before the movie started by a Mexican gang.
Allegedly.
And they have to get his bike back. And then he ends up in the hospital and they break him out and then he dies.
And then they rage against the machine.
Yeah. And like that was the story, the plot summary. But that's just the first act.
Mm-hmm.
This movie's just an excuse to go to the drive-in with a bunch of friends on motorcycles and drink a bunch of beer and yell.
This movie was an excuse for Peter Fonda to be recorded riding his motorcycle.
This movie was an excuse for the Hells Angels to be in a movie.
So I got some fun facts about both those things. So first, there was another guy originally cast to play the lead.
Okay.
And the character's name was going to be Blackjack, but Heavenly Blues, because I guess Peter Fonda probably has blue eyes. I wasn't paying attention.
He was probably cast as Frankenstein with this mug.
He was originally cast as the loser.
Oh.
But the guy who was cast as Blackjack, the president at the time, wanted to have a stuntman do his motorcycle scenes. And Peter Fonda rides his own motorcycle, so that other guy got fired. And this is, I was telling you guys when we started watching this, I was like, oh, Peter Fonda did a bunch of these biker movies because, like, I guess he did Easy Rider and was like, I like that. This was his second starring role. This was his second movie from what I could see. He did some TV. He did some movie called The Young Lovers, and he did this. So he hadn't even done Easy Rider yet or any of that stuff. So
okay.
And then as far as the Hells Angels go, yes, there are real Hells Angels here. They were paid $35 a day and plus $20 a day for their bikes.
Well, if gas was only 28 cents, and that means
Christ,
30 rack of beer.
So jealous.
A 30 rack of beer is what, $5?
Well, that all sounds well and good, but then the Hells Angels organization attempted to, I didn't see if they won or lost, but they attempted to sue Roger Corman for portraying them negatively in this movie for $5 million.
I think you've done that.
But that's the funny thing is it's like, well, Roger Corman portrayed us negatively. You were playing yourself.
Yeah.
We got gaslit, I tell you. Gaslit.
So this movie came out in 1966. It was rated R, which I was surprised to see. Not the rating, but the fact that it was rated.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I can see why.
I thought about asking you earlier, but I was like, oh, no, it's 66. There's like the rating system barely exists if it does.
Yeah, well, and you have like a lot of movies from this era, you can just see approved or not approved, or you just not rated at all.
Maybe for the brutality.
Well, I mean, there's violence and there's violence against women,
drug use,
and drug use.
I mean, I don't think that's why they said rated R for violence against women. It was
1966. A cop dies. So that might have something to do with it.
There's some good dummy work coming up real quick.
Oh, yeah, he does. I forgot about the awesome shot.
But it was only 87 minutes.
It felt so much longer.
It would have felt like 87 minutes if not for the funeral scene. Which we'll get to. It was a fucking fever dream of horror.
Yeah, it was awful. I mean, there's some things in here that Corman does anyway, just of a normal shot that like it doesn't belong in this movie. It looks almost scary, like you're waiting for something supernatural to happen. There's a lot of that in this movie. This, I'm waiting for the church to split open in hell to come out.
I was waiting for him to light it on fire.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought they were just going to be like, we're cremating Bruce Dern now. Burn the church down.
Yep.
But
I thought they were going to do it with the priest in the casket, honestly.
I think a lot of what you're talking about, Jack, like how you see certain shots and you're like, oh, something scary is coming. I think a lot of that might be attributed to Roger Corman in the fact, like us looking at it now, because he'd made a lot of cheap horror movies.
Oh, absolutely.
So the shots that he had are just what you could get with whatever cameras they were using. But then we see those old horror movies. It's mostly what people see of Roger Corman's. And so now you associate that shot with here comes something scary.
I can accept that.
You know, and he had been making movies before this and he made movies well after this. He didn't direct a lot. I mean, he directed like 50 something movies.
Not a lot though.
But not over the length of a career he had, but he produced like 400 and something, I think it said.
He's got 50 more movies under his belt than I've got directorially.
I only have one.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
It's in the private collection?
Yep.
Okay.
It's on the internet. You gotta search for it.
How do I put this delicately? Is you showing your bosoms?
But he did direct the original.
That's how I put it delicately. That's how I put it delicately, by the way. How can I say this with some tact? Is you showing your nips?
But he did direct the original Little Shop of Horrors from the 60s.
Mm-hmm. The less good one.
A movie that I've found that I will screen before we do it, but I think it might be good for this segment. She Gods of Shark Reef. So
sounds like it's better already.
That sounds like a Steve movie.
I was already thinking about that, calling Steve about that one. The Mask of the Red Death, or the Red Mask of Death, I can't remember, starring Vincent Price.
Oh.
Battle Beyond the Stars, which is fun. Is it? You like my hesitation? Is it? I was about to say which is good.
You are the worst salesman ever.
Well, I was about to say good, and I realized that was the wrong word.
Come into our store. We have okay stuff.
But he was a producer on a ton of shit. I mean, movies like Chopping Malls, Slumber Party Massacre, Forbidden World, Humanoids from the Deep, all the Blood Fist movies, Blood Fist 1 through 7 or 8. So, you know.
I don't see the first 16. Chances are, if you're listening to this show, you know who he is. Just his name. I mean.
And if you don't know who he is, you've still seen one of his movies. One of his biggest, like most well-known movies of this like era, and I don't think he directed, I think he just produced it, was Death Race 2000, which has been remade with Jason Statham. But it's just one of those movies people know even if they haven't seen it. Absolutely. I don't know why. But it's just in the fabric of society with David Carradine.
I think Bleep was talking about growing up watching it, but not know like, oh no, it was Bleep's dad used to say like points.
My dad used to do that too,
but he didn't know where it was from until he watched it and was like, "Oh my god!"
That's actually how I found out about the movie. My dad used to say it all the time. He'd be like, "Oh look, that person's 100 points or whatever." And one day I was like, "Why do you always say that?" And my dad told me it's from a movie called Death Race 2000. And
I remember doing that in high school and not knowing why I was doing it.
Yeah.
Like 30 points for the dude in glasses.
That's just like a bleed down through fucking cinema.
And I mean, it's one of the best ones. It's like Wacky Races, but like with actual murder. David Carradine, Sylvester Stallone in his first role after Porn.
Stallion, baby.
Ooh.
So this movie starts, for some reason, with a little kid riding a tricycle by a river. The L.A. River,
You're
going
to tell me that the squeak of this tricycle ain't spoopy?
Oh
That's
my God.
spoopy.
It's definitely like the entrail.
The entrails. It's the entrails to my hotel. Welcome.
It's like the intro to a classic horror movie.
Absolutely.
It's a 3-year-old.
Now,
Terrifying.
Yeah, make him a twin. You want to scare me?
There were.
I don't think they were twins.
there were
Twins.
two kids sitting in a playpen that was
Cage.
definitely set up outside permanently.
I think your wife said cage, and that is a much more
Well, cage is what we would call it
was
now, but back then it was a
bars.
playpen.
It was a square crib. It was bars with
she was
4
busting
walls.
out of here. Give me that rattle. I'll open the lock.
It was also the kind where the side would just slide up. So if that kid was smart enough to just lift,
Yeah.
is this kid supposed to be his kid maybe, and this is like his other family?
How the fuck am I supposed to know
Because so he pulls up, so the kid's riding his tricycle, the mom's yelling at him, and Peter Fonda pulls up on his motorcycle,
And stops.
stops.
We
she
just
turns
watched
the
this
kid
and I've already
around.
forgotten it.
She turns the kid around, and then Peter Fonda rides away, and that's all we get. And then later on in the movie, when the cops are looking for him, they go to this house.
Oh.
And then he
that's
sees
what
them
that
going to the
was.
house.
Okay.
But there's no explanation. So I'm assuming it was like his family from before he became a biker, question mark?
Well, it's his family, but they have nothing to do with the ride, and that's why Mike, he's like, no, I don't love you.
Oh, Nancy Sinatra? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you never say Mike. I'm like, who the fuck was Mike?
Yeah, what the names
She
in this
also went
are
by
so
Monkey.
confusing.
Oh,
They called her Monkey at some point.
Monkey Mike. She just hops from one bro to another.
No, she tried not to. Although she
Well,
did
she
say,
did
you know how
say.
I used to be. Ah.
She was just trying to monkey her way up to the
She
press.
was a homie hopper.
But we see that later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nancy Sinatra, Peter Fonda, the first person we see. People might know him. I mean, the biggest thing is Easy Rider.
Yeah.
He was in Escape from L.A. He debased himself with a cameo role in Wild Hogs.
Maybe not quite that much debasement, but he plays Mistopheles in Ghost Rider.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
That's
the
pretty
first
bad, too.
one.
That's pretty bad, too.
Yeah.
Nick Cage?
Uh-huh.
So they're just like,
with Nick Cage.
both those movies are like,
I was thinking of the TV. But
Oh, no, not the Robbie
Hispanic
Reyes
kid.
one.
he never had a show, though. It was just on Agents of
Okay,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
yeah.
But like, it's like these shows are just like, well, we need an old guy who could ride a motorcycle.
I have ya.
I know someone. Call it Peter Fonda at his retirement home or whatever.
Now, he was married to Jane, right?
I think he's maybe.
Like Jane Fonda, obviously.
I don't know. Son of Henry.
Is it her?
Is that her brother?
Is it her dad?
No, Jane Fonda's like 80. Oh, maybe it is her dad.
Because he's probably like 30 in this movie, at least.
I don't know. You
This
guys
is
talk.
66. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with Jane Fonda other than her 80s workout tapes, and that's
And I'm
more perverted than I meant it to
Quite
sound.
familiar with those. Wink.
It's not what I meant.
You fucking creep.
I know him from the jokes of the workout tapes.
He's her younger brother.
He's her younger brother. Okay, sure. And we get the title card of The Wild Angels, and we know right what we're in for because the T on the is a swastika that leads into the T,
Yeah.
The Wild Angels.
Yeah.
Heil Hitler.
I mean, I hope that you're comfortable with this because it's not going to go away.
So much Nazi paraphernalia in
It
there.
Oh my God.
It was so much at one point I just had to laugh because it's just like everything. Did you go to the fucking like Germans R Us and just get swastika bed sheets, toothbrush? We got swastika shower curtains. We've got swastika slippers for you
Swastika,
to check
the
the
movie.
mail.
Swastika, the lunchbox.
movie.
It was literally so
Swastika,
like
the sequel.
We'll tell you just how much it was. If you watch this, you'll still be exasperated by.
Yep.
Well,
much.
it makes. I mean, I don't know.
I don't
I
think there
didn't-
was this much in American History X.
I didn't know any bikers in the 60s.
Whitney, there wasn't this much in Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Well, I don't know about that because that movie is the first time I thought to myself, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I was like, man, these Nazis sure were into marketing. Like they have more merchandise than like Kiss or Star Wars. Like everything they put a swastika on. I mean, they tried to put a swastika on that ark.
Yeah.
God burned it off, but you know,
He only wants one kind of cross. It's his.
my crosses don't have tails, says God.
Yeah, even like right away, so that we meet up with actor Dick Miller playing the guy working on the rig. And we know him from The Burbs.
Yes.
Terminator. He was the pawn shop guy in Terminator.
Gremlins 1 and 2, I think.
Is this the cop?
No, the guy in the oil
the
fields.
foreman.
Yeah.
And then Demon Knight.
Demon Knight.
So, anyway, but as they're harassing this guy, fucking Bruce Dern puts on his little pilot cap and he's got the swastika right on it. And this guy's correct. He's like, man, if you would have been there fighting, you wouldn't be wearing this shit. I used to kill scumbags like you that wore this.
Yeah. He says, he's like, we used to kill people who wore that shit. And basically that makes Bruce Dern... Well, Bruce Dern gets mad and then like their boss is down and he yells at them. And Bruce Dern throws a wrench at him and he's like, all right, you're fired.
A huge wrench.
Yeah, we're talking oil rig wrench.
Yeah. Because there was 1,000 derricks in this movie.
Literally 1,000 derricks.
That's a lot of
This
derricks.
wrench also had a chain on it.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh boy, you're just asking for extra collateral now.
The chain was there for when he's riding the bike. He uses the wrench and he just swings the chain like a nunchuck.
What is this, road rash?
It was probably
Remo
like a
Williams?
piston with a chain on it, but it looked like a wrench
Oh, okay. Well, it was some big metal thing that he threw at a dude.
that
Yeah.
you're supposed to be working on the rigs with. Yeah.
So, yeah, Bruce Dern gets fired. Bruce Dern, by the way, if people don't know, I mean, most of the people listening are probably of the age that you would recognize him maybe from The Burbs.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Hateful Eight. Mm-hmm. He had a really good movie called Nebraska, but he's been in a million things.
He's got an awesome daughter
Yeah.
named Laura Dern
Who was
of
in
Jurassic Park fame.
Yeah, a little movie called
Actually-
Jurassic Park.
Her mother's in this also.
And so I was going to segue much better than that.
Okay, let's rewind.
Laura Dern is also in Wild at Heart with her mother, who her mother's actually in this movie.
What?
Yeah, playing
What?
with
Oh,
Bruce
that's
Dern.
right. She played Gaish, right?
Is that Gaish? Is that her?
Yeah, Gaish.
G-A-Y-S-H.
Diane
I'm already
Ladd.
bad with normal names, and now all of a sudden you got a girl named Mike or Monkey. You got a girl named Gaish. Somebody's name is Medic.
Loser.
Loser.
Pygmy, Blues. Frankenstein. Ugly.
The one I do remember is Joint.
Joint. I think that's it.
There is somebody that we never see or we don't know. Dear John.
Oh, that's right. I want to say that's the one that that was in the book twice. The tall, skinny guy.
Yeah, that could
was
be.
the
You know, the
third-
guy with the nose.
Yeah, no, I know exactly who she's talking about. He looks like a Michael Richards.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that might be Dear John. That's
I
a
think
good
so.
call. Once again, Whitney bringing it with names.
But I did see.
I'll forget it as soon as we stop recording.
I did see in the trivia. So we had a little conversation while watching this about if Laura Dern was born yet, or if she was born around this time, and
I
we
think
did
she
the
was
math.
pregnant.
She was conceived while they were making this movie.
That's
Fuck
right.
yeah, we called it.
I was doing some fucking.
Cheers.
And
that
apparently,
hot
Is it
ass?
really Dern's? Sorry.
Oh,
Well-
yeah.
well, apparently, according to the IMDb trivia, so whatever, Laura Dern, I guess, people would ask her like who her parents were or whatever, and she'd show them stills of them in their biker outfits from this movie.
I love that.
Don't mind the swastika.
So my dad's the one with the swastika, and my mom's the one with the swastika.
My name's Laura. My older brother's name is Swastika.
And she definitely got the best of both of them.
Yeah,
Like,
she did.
Lord, like this
The
Diane
acting ability
Ladd.
of Bruce Dern and the looks of Diane
Well, because sometimes
Ladd.
you get look at that failed human. Sorry, just looks wise. The lead of The Boys. His dad is Dennis Quaid, and mom is Meg Ryan, and he got the worst parts of
Who
both
is
of them.
he?
Oh, Homelander?
Not Homelander.
Oh.
The Huey.
Oh, the little skinny dude.
Yeah, the
Okay.
main human.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
You said Hopper? Who's his
Dennis
dad?
Quaid.
Dennis
Quaid and Meg Ryan?
Hold on, we're gonna get
No, not Meg
Dennis
Ryan.
Quaid and Meg Ryan's son.
Holy fuck.
So he's not nearly as bad as I say. I just think
No.
that like because of who your parents
he'll
are,
grow into
you
his
should be
looks.
gorgeous.
He'll
We'll
grow
see.
into
He
it.
needs just to grow into a
Also,
beard.
was he made
He'll
during
grow into it. What, when he's 50?
Inner Space? Was that when he was conceived?
No, it was when he was in her face.
That's not how
babies
conception
are made.
works.
Sorry, recovering Catholic here.
He was in her space, and that's when she got pregnant.
Should have been in her face.
Also, I love that movie. That's
But-
the one where he gets like injected, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be Patreon.
Will it?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
Oh,
Better
I'll make
fucking
it
be.
so.
I think I saw that movie on TV once.
I don't know. We'll watch it and decide.
So good. I already decided.
They have to go to get Loser's bike back from a Mexican gang, maybe.
Sure.
They look like they're just mechanics.
Yeah, they have on a fucking auto shop shirt, all of them.
But did you see that it was written? It was
Like
like
marker?
like a marker. It was like the Mexican shop or something.
Yeah, it was like very, very last minute.
So CHP, the Chips, not sexy guy and other dude, but
California Highway Patrol.
yeah, they turn around and start
That's
following.
why they're called Chips.
Yeah.
Good God.
Dude, this is now E for educational. This episode alone, Whitney has learned 2 dynamite
I never
facts.
watched the show.
Well, that's why it was
before.
written
Yeah.
capital C, capital H, lowercase I, capital
Literally
P.
never
Capital
watched it.
N,
I thought it
small
meant they
Y,
had
giant
little
fucking
dicks.
Q.
I never.
You're not missing out.
I'm not. I didn't know that they were called California Highway Patrol. Sorry.
Yeah.
I live in Arizona. Fuck my
But
life.
there's some CHP following them around just because they're bikers. And I guess at the beginning, you're like, I kind of feel bad for these bikers. They're being like hated on by these cops. And as the movie goes on, you're like, man, fuck these bikers.
Well, and right away, I even think I said, I was like, it's hard for me to be on the side with a guy wearing a swastika.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, these cops are definitely profiling him, and, I'm damn the man and all that, but you're wearing a swastika, dude. You probably should be followed through towns.
Yeah.
And the one pulls up next to Peter Fonda, not Henry. Henry Fonda's way too old at this point. He can't ride a motorcycle.
He's out there riding a horse.
He pulls up next to him and he's like, hey, where are you guys going? He's like, anywhere but here, man.
He's like, you bet your sweet ass. Then let him go.
Yeah.
Let him just ride through if they're going anywhere but here.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want Rambos?
Just
Because that's how you get Rambos.
They're also
Big
not
facts.
wearing their colors as they're riding right now, right? They have like another jacket on top of them.
I
'Cause
think
when
I
they-
think some have their cuts. They take their cuts off to go across the border.
Do they?
Yeah. Yep, because you see them throw it on when they get back. I didn't see them take it off, but I
Okay.
know for a fact when they all get back from this raid they're about to do, they're like the ladies are throwing their cuts to them.
Okay.
Yeah, they go down to
They threw
this
their
little-
cuts to Mama, and she used it as like a take-off kind of thing. But it was
That's right,
also so they
okay.
don't get busted for being. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, because they go down and they find this little
We just
oasis.
did work for this movie.
This oasis, by the way,
Beautiful little oasis.
Jack and I want to find it.
Yeah, I want to start a little mini golf
It's
course.
probably a resort now.
there. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And this is where Peter Fonda.
Peter Fondle?
Yes.
It sounded like they were doing a race. Like they're supposed to go get his bike. But then Bruce Dern says, like, we go up and we go around and whoever's the first one back gets to ride Mama or whatever.
She's ready.
Yeah, that's what she's there for. That's what mamas are for, right?
Apparently.
So in
Apparently.
biker speak, I mean, I've seen it in other movies. Mamas are for everybody, and old ladies are for one guy. That's your
Yeah.
old lady.
That's my old lady.
And Mama Monahan, by the way.
I recognize this woman immediately. I was like, I've seen her in things.
She was in Some Like It Hot. She was in The Apartment. She was in a million things, though. So.
Yeah.
She was, and she always had a different hair color, so that doesn't help.
No.
Because I was like going through stuff, and I'm like brunette, blonde, redhead.
But your
like,
wife had said it's very like she moved like a go-go dancer and had a very specific 60s,
Yes.
late 50s look.
Yeah. So they get over there. Bruce Dern starts out this whole thing by trying to free a horse, which is kind of funny. There's
It's
this
him.
horse tied up.
It's supposed to show us his mentality.
Yeah.
You're free. You're wild. Go run.
You're free, man. Go for it.
Oh,
Go on.
Almost pathetic thing I've ever fucking seen. This
Look at him,
horse
he's
is just staying here.
Fucking standing there.
And that
And it
horse
follows him.
That horse is like, dude, if I stay here, I get a meal. This
Yeah.
motherfucker cleans up my shit. I have got it made right now. I ain't going with you, smelly ass. You smell like
Although he
weed,
does
Bruce.
go with Bruce Dern.
All right, fine. I do have some weed. Follow me, horsey.
They've all got weed.
Oh yeah, the amount of joints in this movie, awesome.
So they go in and they start fighting these Mexican dudes, and the cops arrive. My note says coos arrive.
You can cue the Benny Hill song here.
Yeah, pretty much. They're just tossing each other around. It's a lot like the "Watch Out, We're Mad" fight, right?
Yeah.
People
Otherwise,
just
we're
tossing
angry.
tossing each other around. And Bruce Dern goes out one door, and all the other guys go out the other side, and the cops start chasing them, and Bruce Dern jumps on one of these highway patrol bikes and takes off, which is a really good idea.
Yeah, smart. They'll never be
Also,
able to find
if
you.
they're in Mexico, or maybe they're just really far south. I don't know, because
It would have
the
to be
CHP doing there?
Yeah, it would have to not be Mexico, but they're calling it that.
Yeah.
Like they're talking about going to. I guess they just did
He
say
did
go
call
fuck with the
them
Mexicans.
federales.
But these are the same highway patrol.
Yeah, these are the same guys, I think.
I think that they were just saying, let's go fuck with the Mexicans that live in California, like specifically this group. We took it as a, hey, we're going across the border.
Oh,
but I don't
true.
think they ever did. It's like going close to TJ.
I've never been there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too bad we're not 17.
Yeah, that's the only time you want to go.
Don't tell my daughter that.
So
She can't drive there.
one of the better scenes in this movie is Bruce Dern running away from this highway patrol guy who's chasing him.
You call that running?
Well,
it's rough, dude.
yeah, he's not going very fast, but he's not on his cool souped up bike. He's on this.
Oh, I
shitty
meant when he
cop
was
bike.
running to the motorcycle.
Oh
It's
no,
the
no,
most
I mean
awkward-
after he steals the bike.
It's like a cartoon of somebody with like what aliens think
Olive
humans
oil?
run like.
It's like a real person running, not a movie run. It's not a Tom Cruise or Matrix run.
That's true. That's just what people look like when they run normal.
flailing their arms and shit.
Olive oil.
He wasn't quite as flaily, but he's kind of the male Olive Oil.
Yeah.
He's tall and gangly.
Motherfucker's got
Oh,
6 foot long
Popeye.
arms.
When he's
My
in the
hero.
casket later, his arms almost reach his knees. He's basically a
They
gorilla.
had to tuck him in a little bit just to make it look more normal.
But this cop is chasing Bruce Dern and starts shooting at him because, sure.
66, dude. You could just be like, hey, he shot at me first.
And it's funny because this cop
He
shoots.
stole the motorcycle. Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to shoot him.
Nope, stole government property. Dead.
All right.
Thank God Whitney's not judge, jury, and executioner here, dude. Judge Whitney.
I'd watch that.
I would
I'm
too.
not Judge Judy and executioner.
My dad is not Judge Judy and executioner.
But yeah, the cop shoots him and then loses his balance. And this cop goes right off the side of this fucking road. And it's glorious because they have this dummy in the cop uniform that just rides this motorcycle right off the side of a fucking hill.
I'm going to say it now. This is the single best part of this movie.
Yes.
It's-
Oh, yeah.
Hands down, we all busted up laughing because dummy work, the way he fell off was goofy as shit. And then the dummy and the bike falling is
The
amazing.
dummy almost fell off the same way he fell off.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking awesome.
And then the story is over.
Yeah, the bike. Well,
And we've only got 67 minutes left.
what are we going to fill that time with?
It turns out we're going to fill that
Cats
time
fucking.
with, well, there's some cat
There is
fucking
some cat fucking.
and parties. It's
Oh, but
basically just
we do.
bikers
Bruce Dern
partying.
does. Did we mention he got shot?
Yeah,
No.
he got shot and
Because
he got
kind of
and
does
he gets
that,
arrested.
That Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Oh, something jumped up and bit me.
Shot him in the.
and then I got arrested again.
Must have had about 15 rum and cokes.
Yeah, there's a whole scene back at the Oasis. It's just a big party scene. The only thing that really comes from it is that Blues.
There you go. There you go. Now you're getting somewhere.
Blues is worried about
Loser.
Bruce Dern because he hasn't come back yet.
Uh-huh.
And at some point they find out. So the cops show up and like break up their little party because there's a fight. Some guy is sniffing drugs out of a box.
Oh, sorry, I ruined your Black Panther party. Sorry, I'm still on Bruce Dern as Forrest Gump. If I was going anywhere, I was biking. But yeah, the only thing I do want to mention about this party is shithead in the group named Frankenstein is trying to
Get with Geish.
get with her, and then when she says no, he's really close to resorting to rape right away.
And she runs and
She runs
cries
the
into
blues.
Blue's lap.
Yeah.
And he stops him and he basically tells him to fuck off. And that other dude, some other guy, is, like I said, sniffing something out of a box.
Yeah.
I think it's rubber cement.
I think
don't
we've got a
know.
fake drug here. I think we have a fake
Because
drug
they
here.
keep opening it and it looks, when Peter Fonda has it later, it looks like a matchbox.
It
Uh-huh.
does.
So I don't know.
So I'm just
If you're
saying,
listening
put
and
a
you
little
know if you know of a drug that's like this, it's not cocaine because no one's acting like it's cocaine.
No, they're
No.
huffing
People are
it.
acting like it's closer to heroin or something. It could be ether.
Maybe.
Oh.
Could be ether. There's nothing
Yeah.
more desperate than the man's on the depths of an ether binge. Finish your fucking story, man.
Tell me about the fucking golf shoes.
It's impossible to walk in the smoke. No footing at all.
Better movie.
Way better movie. That's a drug movie gone right.
So yeah, the CHP breaks up the party, and then we have Bruce Dern getting surgery.
You're down with CHP? Oh, no, not me.
Bruce Dern's getting surgery, and they decide, somehow they find out he's in the hospital, so they decide, we're going to go bust him out.
Uh-huh.
Because once
They're
he
going
gets
to take
better,
him right to jail as soon as
he's
he's
going to
fucking...
jail,
I don't
exactly.
want to say cured. Can't cure being a biker.
he can't cure being shot with a bullet.
I'm cured. They took the bullet out and everything.
Sharks of the Corn? Virus Shark? Cocaine Shark? Sharktopus? Yeah, those are all real movies. Join me, Steve Coates, as each week I take a comedic look at the bizarre world of sharksploitation cinema on Bucket of Chum, the Shark Movie Podcast.
As you folks know, we like to have a beer or three while we podcast, and sometimes that leads to a not-so-pleasant morning after, unless we remember to hydrate, people. That's where Liquid IV comes in. Liquid IV is the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, and it's now available in sugar-free, with a proprietary zero-sugar solution that has no artificial sweeteners. I love using Liquid IV because it comes in convenient little packets you can take with you, makes me feel rejuvenated and hydrated, and best of all, it actually tastes good. Just one packet of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than just water alone, thanks to the 8 vitamins and nutrients it has, and it has 3 times the electrolytes of those other sports drinks. We love Liquid IV so much that we're offering you, our loyal listeners, a steal of a deal. Get 20% off when you grab your Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier, sugar-free, or any other variant at liquidiv.com and use the code WORSTPEOPLE at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code WORSTPEOPLE at liquidiv.com. So they hatched this plan to have Nancy Sinatra go in pretending to be his sister, and she gets in there and she talks her way in and she unlocks the window. And then these fucking 3 Stooges come in. Well, there's 4 of them because they're trying to take him out and they're just knocking shit over and making noise.
Even when they were playing pool earlier and everyone's like, we got to bust him out. Like, can't be done, which Derek pointed out. It's a hospital. It can be done.
Yeah, there's not a lot of
You're not
security.
robbing Fort Knox. You don't need Jeremy Irons in Die Hard 3. But yeah, it's complete idiocy here. I do want to bring up this actress they have working the front desk is the best actress in the movie.
Yes.
And I wonder if this is what I call the Lamas effect. You know, I like watching Renegade.
I do.
That dude is so bad at acting that almost everybody he's next to, me and Bleep will always be like, man, this person's acting their ass off. And then we're like, no, they're just next to Lorenzo Lamas. They're actually like okay at best, but they are blowing him away.
When she was played by a woman named Kim Hamilton, I had to look her up because, again, she was a better actress than everybody else.
She actually acted.
I thought she seemed familiar, but it turns out she doesn't. Because
Wait,
she was
you thought she was familiar, but it turns out she doesn't?
I thought she seemed familiar,
okay.
but she doesn't. Because she was in 82 things. Most of them were TV shows, and almost all of them were 1 episode.
Ah.
So
I mean, you
Starving
could
artist.
could be, but I mean, it's mostly older stuff too. I mean, she was in a 92 and 96 episode of Law and Order, which I never watched. But like the most current thing she was in was a 2002 episode of The Practice and a 2002 episode of Girlfriends. And I didn't watch either of those. I mean, she passed away in 2013.
Oh, rest in pictures.
But
Working actress, dude. I mean,
loved
you
it.
know, nothing stuck, but she was there.
I mean, I guess she couldn't hold her own against other not actors because she was in like a couple of episodes of Guiding Light and a couple of episodes. Like if you're in less than 100 episodes of any of those shows, then you weren't really on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they take out Bruce Dern and his big metal or glass fucking IV thing, and that's how they alert the cops, right? Because the guy one of them drops the IV and it shatters.
Oh, yeah, because they're loading him into the Ecto 3.
Oh, yeah, Pygmy drops it. Pygmy, who was also in other things.
I spotted him right away as the hobo that freezes in Scrooge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Scrooged.
because Joint is still, he punches the nurse.
Yeah, the
then
nurse comes
proceeds
in.
You see it kind of happening, and even Whitney tried to, defend him, not defend him, but like benefit of the doubt. She's like, no, he's just trying to hold her down. He does punch her to knock her out, and then he's like, well, I'm gonna rip her blouse open, and we'll see what happens there.
Well, she's asleep now. I might as well rape her.
And then
Yeah.
Blues again. I think they want us to like look at Blues. He's a Hell's Angel, but he's not a rapey Hell's Angel.
Yep, he yells at somebody for doing the drugs. And he's like, I told you to quit that shit.
Yeah.
He's like, quit raping people.
He defended Gaish.
Gaish.
Yeah, Gaish.
And then he saves this nurse who then turns him into the police.
Uh-huh.
because he's the only one she recognizes.
There's no morals to this finger quote story. Like, this story does not need to exist. Nothing is learned from it. No one's the better. Maybe Bruce Dern.
Because he dies.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bruce Dern dying, they take him back to their Nazi hideout, and he's not doing well because you took him from a hospital while he was recovering from a gunshot wound.
You know what I didn't see was a swastika bathrobe.
It was in the bathroom hanging.
Yeah, we didn't see the bathroom. When they take him into this bed, there's it's like a canopy bed, and I'm pretty sure there was a Nazi flag hanging over it, and there was a Nazi flag on it.
Yeah, there's that. It's not the swastika, but the other German flag hanging up, and then the swastika bed frame or bed comforter, swastika scarf,
a duvet.
They're like, we couldn't find a real comforter, so we just got this comforter and glued a fucking swastika to it.
I mean, Lemmy from fucking Motorhead would be pleased as punch to buy into this memorabilia.
Or
short shorts.
They have Medic come to help him. Medic is another actor who I recognized. I had to look him up though, but he played Lou. There's a guy named Norman Alden. He played Lou in Back to the Future. Who's he's the guy who owns the soda shop.
How do I give you something free?
Yeah, can I get a Pepsi free? Can I get a tab? You got to order something for me to open you a tab.
That's it.
I'm trying new things instead of saying
I'm a motorcycle.
That's the way you do it now. Next up, this is what happened.
So Bruce Dern is very excited that they busted him out. He's touched.
You're busting
He's happy.
me out. Oh, you really did it.
He's also dying.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to question this biker that lives in a boat named Medic that found a dirty hat and put it on, but he is like just putting his hand on his chest and like shaking his head like he's not going to make it. Yeah. You're correct, but you know nothing.
He's probably feeling the pulse, like it's a really dying.
You've worked in hospitals, though. That's not the best place to feel a pulse.
They listen.
Well, he did, but he didn't. He just fucking tried to Mr. Miyagi him.
He's that good.
Is
no,
he?
I know.
Because Bruce Dern died.
You definitely do the thoracic.
Yeah.
Joint
even what's this? The radial. Yeah, like you got other places to feel a pulse.
Yeah.
I like doing the one by your ankle.
Put your finger in his butt. Like,
you'll probably feel it better there.
You definitely can feel it better, and I'll tell you what, if he's alive, he's going to let you know. Oh, what are you doing back there? Using the whole hand, Doc?
Okay, so I thought you were over there. Oh, you are over there.
Someone's like, get him a beer, get him a joint. And she's like, what do you want, baby? What do you want?
Oh, I called it right away. I was like, man, if this is me, and like I'm definitely not a biker, if I'm dying and I'm around my friends on a swastika bed, I'm going to need a joint. How did I get into swastika bed? Who owns this?
Is this my swastika bed? Oh, yeah. So he smokes a joint and dies. And one of the people says, meaning he's dead, he's wasted.
Yeah, I just laugh at like, well, yeah.
He hits that joint, though, and his eyes just light up. He's just like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh.
And that's it for Bruce Dern. One of the main reasons. Well, okay. He does.
We still get some pretty good.
We get some weekend at fucking Dern's.
Yeah,
weekend at Derney's.
Weekend at Derney's.
So Henry Fonda finds out the cops are after him because the girl fingered him in the
timeline.
He stopped her from getting fingered.
The timeline on this is not existent. Like, we don't know how time has passed.
I do think, and I know you're talking about the timeline of the story.
Yeah.
I do think up until now it's been breezing pretty good time flow-wise.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't been a bad, it only really stalls at the church.
Well, no, like, how long was it before his death, and then they go to, because they had a death certificate, and like, but I'm like, how many days was it been?
I'm going to say it's the soon as possible.
Okay, so you think this
Dead
whole
bodies
movie
tend to
is
stink.
It's like a couple of days.
over like 3-4 days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say that.
The reason he knows they're after him is because he goes back to the house and he sees the cops. That's right. I mentioned that earlier.
Oh,
so I was
yeah.
like, how did he find out? He sees them raiding the house and he gets sad. And so they decide they're going to go do a funeral.
Oh, that's where we get the cat.
I was going to say, let's
God,
just,
I forgot about that already.
Just get to the cat fucking a little bit.
Yeah, so Peter Fonda is going out to his motorcycle and this cat in the background is singing like Yoko Ono.
Oh, hold on. This movie's 80 yard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because of budget and stuff like that. So this cat is on purpose added in.
Yeah.
This is not Just like, oh,
This was not there.
there's some cat in the alley. That sounds cool.
Yeah, and
No.
there's more cat in this movie than there was in Cherry 2000. Man.
Because this cat it sounds like somebody has trapped it. It sounds awful. And
Yeah.
then
I thought
they
it was
put
trapped in
a
the
Tommy
garage.
Cat.
and then the second cat comes in, and I mean comes in.
And I don't know if you know anything about cats, but cats do not have sex. Cats are raped.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like the male cat like pins them down. They even have barbed penises. Like,
That's not how we're supposed to have sex?
It's not pleasant. Do you have
That-
barbs on your penis?
Not anymore. Not after this recording.
That was a phase. I used to listen to a lot of Ministry.
Yeah.
So that's why.
I got it that sex shop, Hot Cockick.
But that's why cat sex sounds horrendous and terrifying.
Oh, and this, it's fine to like have that if it makes sense to the story, but this doesn't make sense to the story and goes on for 5 to 6 minutes too long.
Of silence.
Him trying to start his bike with some weird fucking angles. I'm telling you, there's some weird horror angles of like it looks like someone's behind him, and it's not just my machinations. But yeah, way too long of this world's worst montage.
Yep.
I'm calling it.
Yeah, he's trying to start his bike. And once he gets it started up, we just have motorcycle revving and cat fucking, and it's just like. And we thought it was the most annoying the movie was going to get.
Oh boy, wish I could go back to that time.
So they decide to have Peter Fonda hide out while they go do the funeral because he's the one who's wanted.
Dead or alive.
He sends them all up to Bruce Dern's hometown, which
To
not
not
surprisingly is somewhere in Northern California.
He said, "Don't fly your colors," meaning like wear your jacket over your
yeah,
cut.
because they were going to go in full like motorcycle rally into
Yeah.
this town.
Goes
Blues
in
is the
ones
only
and
smart
twos.
one.
Yeah.
Go in ones and twos, so not to cause any concern.
A ruckus.
Yes,
Yeah.
ruckus.
Can you describe the ruckus, sir?
Well, they do end up bringing the motherfucking ruckus here
In
shortly.
fact, my clients would like to know what you define as a ruckus. Okay.
So they go up to this town and they have this funeral in this little church.
Oh, we do get. So we sorry, I'm just going to bring it back. We did talk about gas is like 26 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
Y'all fucking who. To bury your friend if you're not getting extorted. So this guy's going to embalm the body, make him look good as shit, drive him 100 miles up the road and bury him. If you're not being extorted, that was $250.
Yep.
$250, dude.
Yeah.
As someone that's had to like help with burying people, that's dirt cheap, pun intended.
That's why I'm like, don't bother with all that. Put me in a shopping cart and shove me down some stairs and try to hit me, light me up.
$1,000 now?
Yeah, you're getting lucky with $1,000. I mean, I'm talking about strap me on a motorcycle, put a cigar in my mouth, and light me on fire, William Forsythe style.
No, we're
This
gonna
is
put
our
you in
mo-
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
All right, light that on fire.
This is our most modestly priced urn.
Yeah, Folgers can, baby.
So they go into this church and they have the swastika flag hanging over Bruce Dern's casket, and the priest starts.
This is
coming
where I
in.
laughed because it has just been so much. I'm like, oh my god, like we get it. You don't have to be buried in a swastika thing, dude. Like it's like one of your friends that gets really into stuff. You know, like when they first get into like let's say dirt biking, and everything they wear is like that Fox brand, and it's like
yeah.
we get it.
Yeah.
You've showed
Well,
me videos of you dirt biking.
And it's like, I mean, I know a lot of them were racist. I mean, we saw some earlier in the movie. We didn't mention it where he calls the Mexican dudes like taco bender or whatever.
If taco bending is eating a bunch of tacos, sign me up.
I've been on a taco bender.
I've been on a taco bender, and I am down to do it again.
But like,
Oh yeah, are you jealous? Amber made us tacos on Monday.
Jealous.
Jealous?
Yes.
But, like-
with fresh pico and fresh wok and
Fuck
freshly
yeah.
grated cheese.
Well, I had a Coronado's burrito and a half today, so.
so, oh yeah, well, I had 4,000 calories today is what Jack just said.
Joke's on you. I'm going to die soon. My poor hawk could barely take it.
But like, I don't know what the biker thing of this era, like, because we saw it in Stone Cold too. Like they have people.
There's a
with
sequel to
with-
Stone Cold?
We saw it in Stone Cold also.
Oh, god damn it. That's a
I know, he got
letdown.
my
Where
excited.
there's people wearing swastikas and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is it just a thing to be like edgelords, like you're trying to piss people off, or is it really like?
They
I-
probably are supremacists. They're-
I mean, I know a
think
lot of
it's-
them are pretty racist.
I
but-
think it is a lot to do with edgelord, but there's got to be some of the sects out there or chapters or even just clubs in general that are specifically like whites only.
Yeah.
Has to be.
I mean, there's nobody who wasn't white in this group.
Right. Well, it'd be real tough to be a black dude wearing a swastika and a Maltese cross. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I'm just saying it'd be tough.
I mean, the only people in this movie who aren't white were the Mexicans who got beat up and
And
the
the
black
nurse
nurse
that
who
almost
almost got raped.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
But they take this thing in there. The preacher comes up and he sees all the bikes outside the church. And you can see he's just like, well, fuck me.
Motherfucker.
Yep. And he goes in, and of course he hesitates when he sees the flag and everything.
He's doing his best,
But,
though.
yeah.
He's a good boy. He was the bestest boy.
He's trying to be a best boy.
He's trying.
He's one of God's children.
Until
he starts
that.
saying
Oh, but he
shit
does
like
get the
that.
name wrong.
Oh.
He does get the name wrong.
And that's
too.
where
It's
it starts to
Carnes.
go
It's like,
bad.
Kearns, motherfucker.
Yeah. And yeah, he's trying to tell them, like, you know, well, people have choices or whatever. That's when Peter Fonda stands up and he's like, man, fuck you. He's like, God never did shit for Loser. You know, he never gave him any opportunities and all this stuff. And he's like, well, he could have made better choices. And that was, you know what you don't do to a room full of rowdy bikers?
This priest is not wrong, but he's doing it wrong.
Don't talk down to them.
Yeah, especially their dead friend.
Especially when you're standing on a pedestal.
You're standing on a pedestal in a church with their dead friend, telling them that they are not good people. And they know that, but they don't want you to tell them
So,
that.
and I like this, I'm going to generalize it, character growth or development with Bruce Dern's character. Like, oh, he just had a really tough life, you know, like, let me tell you about his childhood. It wasn't that bad. He just didn't like living. Like, he was like, you know what? You know what God gave him? Had to pay bills, had to come home to his family, had to go to work, had to shovel it. It's like, okay. That's what life is, though. Like,
right?
God didn't give us mortgage and rent. It's here.
But Peter Fonda's doing his speech that's kind of famous because it's been in a couple of songs and it was featured in The World's End. But it's
famous to you.
It starts out with
Right.
everybody's seen The World's End, okay? Plus,
yes,
it was
yes. Everyone has seen it. Most people can't quote it.
It was also in a Mudhoney song.
Most people didn't do it for their birthday. Also,
My birthday.
Yeah, we did do the pub crawl,
we did the mile,
and I'm the only one who did them all because I'm not a quitter.
Yeah.
12 beers ain't that much.
No, not for
Especially when you're walking in between.
not for
places.
Sasquatches.
I mean, okay,
Did
so
you
it was.
just call my husband a Sasquatch?
If he handled 12 beers with ease, yeah.
It wasn't just beers too.
I was about to say, well, it wasn't 12 beers. It's with the first stop we had. We were going to 12 different breweries and bars to get beers because I was doing the Golden Mile. First place we stopped, the brewery owner knew who we were, and I told him what we were doing, and he's like, "Oh, that's cool." And then he buys everybody a second round, and I was like, "Well, that's a bad start."
That's really cool. Check out this liqueur.
So here's your second beer. No, okay. And then we also definitely drank liquor along the way.
I mean, I think we all know that Derek has the drinking prowess of like 10 Morgan Freemans.
Yeah,
Not now Morgan Freeman.
I was also
like
the
Morgan
DD.
Freeman
I don't know
in-
how much Morgan Freeman can drink.
I'll tell you one thing. I bet Morgan Freeman could sauce.
I bet he could smoke.
I mean, we're talking about OG Morgan, like not even OG.
Nah, that voice doesn't smoke.
Oh yeah, that is just fucking
You don't
velvet thickness.
If he smoked a lot, he'd be. You'd
No,
have
I'm
Morgan
talking just like
Freeman
weed.
narrating fucking Penguin documentaries, sounding like Tom Waits.
You think he doesn't smoke weed?
Nah, not anymore.
You can't see my face of disdain.
I don't know. Morgan Freeman just doesn't strike me as a stoner. He strikes me as someone's a cool cat on his own. Like that dude just like
Morgan
I never
Freeman
had to
and
get high.
Obama were smoking weed in college.
I
Montel
never had to
Williams.
get high. I was always there.
It's William. Yeah, Montana Williams is a big advocate for smoking.
Well, that's how we do it.
No, not Jordan Williams.
That's how we do it. Wait, the talk show guy?
Yes.
Oh, I was always a team. I couldn't think of one Geraldo.
I was always team Sally, Jesse, Raphael.
Yeah, just because you
Well, he
thought
had-
you were watching the Ninja Turtles.
Montel had MS. And so
okay.
he was like a huge advocate about making it like medically
Way to bring the
legal.
podcast down. Get back to these Nazi bikers raping that
So
chick.
he
Yeah.
he starts out by telling him, "We're not children of God. We're hell's angels," and everybody cheers. And then he goes into the famous part of the speech, famous to me, I guess.
Infamous?
He's like, the preacher says, "Well, what do you want to do?" And he's like, "We want to be free. We want to be free to do what we want to do. We want to ride our machines without being hassled, and we want to get loaded." And then they all start cheering.
I second that motion.
We want to party, and it's a whole thing. It's good. You
Yep.
should watch The World's End to get the speech, not this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's spoiler for recommendations. World's End's better.
I don't think, by the way, Jack made a joke. He's like, "Oh, so Simon Pegg was quoting a Nazi movie." I don't think Simon Pegg is quoting this movie. I think Simon Pegg is quoting the song that's used in World's End, which samples this movie.
So it's Nazi by proxy.
Yeah, Noxie.
He's a Noxie. Gonna split hairs, dude?
So they smashed the fuck out of this church.
Yeah.
Yes, they
All this
do.
IKEA furniture is gone.
Fucking pews built by Big Lots.
Pews are us.
Pews are us. Crazy Larry's pews. You need some pews? You need a bunch of them in a hurry? We got cheap ones. You can smash them up, no problem. Watch this.
Pew, pew, pew.
You just go tip, and they fall to pieces.
I mean, they're lifting them above their heads, which already you shouldn't be able to do that with a good old Catholic pew. And when they drop them, they just crumble to bits. It's pretty fucking
Well, this
awesome.
is a shitty little mountain town, I guess.
Yeah, they would have hand-carved rich mahogany.
Sequoia Gardens. Or,
Oh, yeah, Sequoia. Sequoia's definitely right.
I know it was Sequoia.
I don't know about the
Sequoia's
gardens
Grove.
part. Ooh, Sequoia Grove sounds good.
Yeah.
I'd eat there.
Yeah. I would drink their beer.
And then
Yeah.
this is where the movie descends into madness and terribleness, and you decide
For
that every
about-
character is trash.
15 minutes.
It felt like 30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this felt so long.
There
I
are-
was this close, and nobody can see, but this close to fast forwarding.
You can barely see the space between his fingers.
I'll sum it up really quick. They rape Geish.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Frankenstein finally gets to rape Gage.
Drugs are first because
It's
he's a
Frankenst-
gentleman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he drugs her.
Ugly.
Ugh.
So Frankenstein and Ugly rape Geish, and then when we see her again, Joint is done, and they're like, "We have a new mama."
And you see other people.
and then another man gets in
Yeah.
there. Then Blue is gone. We don't know where he's at, but he's been fucking
No, we
Mike.
see
He's
yeah, we
laying on
see
the
Blue.
ground
at the end.
smoking weed with her. I don't think they're fucking. Or
No,
they're
I
making
think they
out.
was fucking.
He was, and then he says, "I'm done with you."
And then he goes and he fucks Mama.
Well, he says, "I'm done with you," and then he huffs out of the little magic box
And then go
that he was
fucks
talking
Mama.
shit about, and then he fucks Mama. Yeah,
Because he's fucked up in the head right now. And then they take the priest out, and they're like, "Oh, blah 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 blah," and the priest is in the coffin, and then they have
they put the priest in, and they take Bruce Dern out.
Weekend at Derny's.
And
This
then
is
they
it.
put Dern up on the one of the side pews, and like puts his arm up, and then puts his hand on his chest, and has him flipping off the ground, and then puts a joint in his mouth, and then after Geish is done being raped, like hobbles her way over to where he is, and then has a conversation with him, saying, "I didn't mean to do this."
I think
Yeah, I didn't have a choice. Like,
this is poorly done, but I think the idea here is supposed to be a character thing for Peter Fonda. Because like he already said earlier to Mike, Monkey, Nancy Sinatra.
Oh, 'cause they were
that
on the
he,
boat
he didn't know
together.
if he loved her anymore or whatever.
they were on the boat, and she's like, "Do you love me?" And he just stares off.
I don't
know.
And at this point, he says, "I'm done with you," and then he goes to Mama, and like I think he's breaking down because Loser is his best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So
his
that
best
this
friend.
is like a moment of character like conflict within Peter Fonda. But like so
I get it. And
it's not good.
Yeah.
but I think that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
But
I'm
then
not
he,
asking for this movie to be longer. I just want it to be better.
he has sex with Mama, and after he comes, he's like, "Okay, actually, Nancy Sinatra, I like you."
Yeah.
He punches Ugly for kissing Nancy Sinatra.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, I think Ugly and Nancy are just doing what you're supposed to do. Like, well, he's done with you, right? Can I have you? And she's like, well, I don't want to be a fucking mama. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess.
and
so
then but
he-
through this whole scene is the most torturous
Oh my God.
sounds I've ever had to listen
Three
to.
full different songs are going on.
There's
So you
some
got-
lady humming.
And it's like church stuff.
Yeah.
Every now and then you can hear where it's like, the truth of God. And then you got one guy that is going ham on these bongos.
Oh my God.
Which wouldn't sound that bad if it wasn't for just madness.
Yeah.
And then I would say 60s protest rock song.
Yeah,
Yes.
some kind of fart rock, and
Just-
it's all playing over
It's
each
not
other.
even fart rock. It wishes it was fart rock.
Yeah, this was like
fucking
it's
queef
like
rock.
it's like when I went to a rave when I was younger, and it was an indoor rave, and there was the old indoor swap meet, and there's
Oh, yeah.
like four.
Yeah, when it was actually Tanca Verde.
I don't know.
No,
the indoor one.
No.
That was way out.
He's not that old.
But there's the four, like it had four hallways that all had like that crossed in the middle. You know,
Sounds like how they have it at the Pima County Fair, like that.
maybe,
indoor
but
thing.
like it was set up like so it was all crossed down in the middle, and when you were in the middle, there's a stage at the end of each hallway.
Yep.
While you're in the middle, you can hear all four stages. It was a lot like that, except for that was way better. I was also on drugs.
Dude, drugs would have flipped me out on this part.
This
Oh
was
my
so
gosh.
bad.
I would have
It
gotten
was-
up and left.
Yeah, it was like having a really bad trip. Like it just kept going, and I don't know how long the scene was, but it felt like 87 minutes.
It was Yoko Ono doing the soundtrack.
It's
probably like you said, Nancy Sinatra.
I
is
think I
probably
said
the
it was
one.
probably her
Oh.
because she was the one humming. But yeah, it's like if Yoko Ono made a bad song. Oh wait,
Imagine if she made a good one.
So this is where Fonda is like, fuck it. You know what? Let's bury him. We're gonna bury him.
He's back
right
to
now.
his senses.
Yeah.
He having sex with Mama. Yeah, he's got that post nut clarity. It happens.
And instead of taking a nap, they do this funeral procession through town, and everybody in town is watching. They're riding their bikes real slowly. There's some dudes carrying Bruce Dern's coffin. There's this guy in this fucking whatever those dome helmets.
It's a turtle helmet.
It's the German Nazi helmet.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like an old Nazi helmet. I mean, it's a motorcycle helmet.
Yeah,
but
if remember the old Metal Militia logo, it's that.
Exactly, that kind of like dome thing. But he's got the strap. The strap wouldn't go under his chin, I guess. So he's got the strap under his nose.
You couldn't look doofier. Unstrap it. Let it dangle.
Yeah.
Do something else, dude.
Anything else.
Yeah, anything else.
And they do a hard focus on him at one point.
Yeah, Derek spotted him early, and then it took us a little bit. We're like, I don't know. I can't really. I can see the back of him, and then whoop, right up front. Here's your close-up, Mr. DeVille.
So I have a funny IMDb trivia about the funeral scene. Apparently, at the time they were shooting the funeral, outside of this church, Bruce Dern was actually assaulted and beaten by 2 real Hell's Angels.
Oh, wow.
Because they thought he was trying to pretend to be one of them, and he was trying to explain to them that he was making a movie and he was an actor, and they didn't believe him, and they beat the shit out of him.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. I wonder if it was the 2 bikers we see leaving. Because there are these 2 non-Hell's Angels in the movie anyway, bikers driving opposite, kind of waving at the funeral procession.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to
You're
put in the movie.
You're supposed to be fucking dead.
Yeah.
And it was funny because there's a quote from him. He's like, and it was like, hey, I'm not even alive in the movie. I'm dead, and I'm still getting beaten.
Well, at least he didn't die from that.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's fucked up, man.
Yeah, that's shitty. I'm one of you. Wait, no, I'm not.
So the whole town is watching. There's a dude recording on like an 8mm camera, and I don't know if these were extras. I mean, at the end we find out they are, but at first I was like, they were like, we need extras, and Roger Corman was like, just drive bikes through this town. You'll have extras.
They'll come.
Just write it, and they will come.
Yeah. Whoa. All right, it's like a Howard Stern episode now.
Ride the Sibian. And then some kid, while they're trying to put the casket into the hole,
They're lowering it.
lowering it in. This kid hucks
Like
half of a
cinder
fucking
block.
brick, at one of these dudes, and then hell just breaks loose
It
again.
hits Pygmy, and Pygmy falls into the casket, and the casket falls into the
this
ground.
kid's responsible for, if the cops didn't show up, deaths. But he's responsible for injuries.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to punch that little kid. Well, maybe these guys will.
I mean, I know they just
Maybe
destroyed
they
the
would.
church, and they might not know about that yet. They might, but they were being pretty peaceful at this point. If they just destroyed the church and you knew about it,
Okay, so
don't throw a brick at them.
Let's do work for this. I think this is the movie trying to tell us this is the townspeople everywhere they go.
Yeah.
It's like a guy that wears a swastika in America can't get a fair shake, Derek. There's no way he could become president. Just kidding. He's never worn one.
Not outside of his
town.
jacket.
You haven't seen his tattoo. But no, I think it's the movie.
Donald Trump has the Edward Norton chest swastika.
You see this? Means not welcome. It's the most unwelcome people you've ever seen. But I do think this movie is trying to show us, take the Nazi all bullshit out of here, right? This is just like Bruce Dern just wanted to be free and ride his motorcycle, and everywhere he went, townspeople were like, "Why don't you work a 9 to 5, you bum?"
Yeah.
Take all the racist
I guess
memorabilia.
that's the mentality from that era.
I mean, most of what they did that was violent or destructive was after people gave them shit, other than the hospital. Mm-hmm. When that's also they were trying to break their friend out. I mean, other than fighting those dudes.
This movie wants us to think that they're good bad guys or like chaotic good.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's just that it's really hard to see a guy with a swastika and be like, yeah, he's getting a bum rap.
True. So they hear sirens, and everybody's like breaking up the fight. And
Cheese
everyone's
it.
like, leave.
We never got Bruce Dern yelling, cheese it.
Oh, cheese it.
And Mike Monkey is standing there with Blues.
Mike Monkey.
And she's like, we gotta go, and he's just standing there refusing to go, and Ugly comes up and they're yelling her to get on the bike, and he just looks at her. He's like, I'm not going.
There's
I'm not
nowhere
going anywhere.
nowhere to go.
He pulls a Walter Sobachek.
He's like, I'm calm.
I'm finishing my funeral.
I'm gonna finish burying my friend, dude.
Yep. Get out of here.
You want a funeral? I'll give you a funeral.
I mean, that's how the movie ends.
Get on, Harry. I don't want you no more.
Peter,
Can't you see? We don't want you.
can't you see, Nazis?
She jumps on the bike with Ugly, and he's out. And
then the best thing happens ever. Your wife goes, "Is this the end? Was that the end?" Because it just fades to black so unceremoniously, and then because it's so not well written, it has to pop up the end.
Yep.
The
Just to
end.
let you know, hey, yeah, you're right. This is the end.
My only friend.
Oh baby,
The end.
this is the end.
But
Aw, because
so
that was his only friend.
Yeah.
Aw.
that's what the song's about.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Jim Morrison probably liked this movie, didn't love it. He's like, not enough chicks getting raped.
So I feel like this is unnecessary, but we'll start with Whitney. So that's a yes.
2 tongues down.
Oh, I'm not. No, I could continue living without ever seeing this movie.
Mr.
Don't
Jack.
watch it. Just listen to us.
It's not a recommend, and it's a shame because there are some like decent bike riding. All the motorcycle scenes are dope. You could. All right, you want to give it any sort of caveat?
No.
Yeah, go for it.
Put it on mute and play music.
Now, still too much Nazis and
I
rape.
was gonna say let Derek
Put
just,
on Nazi music.
let Derek
No,
just-
it's just not. There's nothing here, and it's not enjoyable enough. Like some of these things that we do are just bad fun.
Yeah.
This is bad, boring.
Yeah.
Bad, boring is just the worst.
Yeah, I have to start screening these throwback movies because, like, some of them I've seen, but
Or
this
don't,
one,
dude. It's a fucking roulette.
yeah. We don't have to recommend everything.
I
We
know,
watch these
but I
so
want
other
to watch a
people don't
movie.
have to.
I just feel like it was so
It's hollow.
that it's boring. It's just that I we don't have to recommend everything. You're right, but I want it to have like a story structure.
So I think if people
you're
want to
looking for
watch
plot?
this, all you need to do is dummy scene, bike ride scene. Then
If this costs any amount of money to find it, don't.
Yes, I did not have to pay to watch this, so that's good.
that is good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can't even go like the way Jack said and listen. I don't listen to Rammstein and watch this. Just
I mean,
Oh, sorry. When I said Nazi rock, I was thinking the Scorpions.
just don't. It's bad. It's boring. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like it's just meandering.
the dummy at the very beginning is the best, and then it's just blip.
Yeah, and that gave me high hopes.
Yeah.
And like
he
again,
had
I chose it.
high hopes he had.
I chose
Nazis
it.
in the sky.
I chose it because this month's Patreon episode doesn't really tie into anything. It's The Princess Bride, which is one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to tie something together because
Well,
I
you
usually
tried one
try
of
to
the
do
worst
that.
movies ever
I
made.
think I would rather watch Officer Down again.
Yeah,
than
you know why?
this.
Beginning, middle, end, action, violence, drama.
Yeah. You didn't watch that one, and you're
I
not
did not.
missing out. That was terrible.
But I like me some Kim Coates.
Of course you do. Of course. And he's in it,
I mean,
so yeah.
and speaking of Nazis, it was directed by a guy from Slipknot. I don't know if they're Nazis.
They were Nazis,
don't
dude?
think so.
They're singing about castration.
I mean, they are from Iowa.
I mean, I've heard some of Corey Taylor's solo music. He could easily be a Nazi. He made people listen to that.
Yeah, there's not enough here. There's not a fun soundtrack to save it.
There's a couple of cool
One
songs.
song
There's
that we liked.
there's one song they use when they're cruising.
Yeah.
And it's good, but like first, like I just said, you have one. You should have had multiple. There should have been one to open, one to do in the middle when they're cruising. Just because you found a good one doesn't mean it's the only one.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed because it did have such a banger cast. Like you do
Oh,
have
banger
Fonda-
cast.
But
You
these
do-
are also people who hadn't really done much. It was Peter Fonda's second movie. It was
Dern.
Diane Ladd's first movie.
Yeah.
Where's Dern at?
I didn't notice his. It
But
was
it's early.
definitely a little. It's early. It was a little deeper. He had a couple things, but it's not.
We didn't mention that Pygmy Jack and I recognize immediately as the dude from Groundhog Scrooge.
No, we did mention that.
We mentioned it.
We mentioned
Oh.
that. Yeah, and Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
He's like the guy that makes the weapons. He's the Q. But yeah, it's funny because I've spotted this guy before, and it takes me a minute. That's why this time when you said I know him, it's like that's the fucking guy that freezes in Scrooged.
And Roger Corman.
Can I call you Dick?
Roger Corman made a lot of bad movies, but usually they're campy, fun bad. So that's why I just figured, well, it ties into Stone Cold. We don't have anything to tie into the Patreon, but we'll tie into Stone Cold, which is one of our favorites.
Yeah.
So
I'm not mad I watched it. I can say I will never watch this again.
Candy agrees.
There is zero.
Candy doesn't want to watch it either.
Candy will never. Candy's like, watch it again. What do you say?
Candy's like, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I'm Jewish.
Yeah, I will never watch this again.
No,
I can say
she's-
that with confidence.
But yeah, so fuck this movie.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Fuck you for making us watch it.
You know what? I should have just stuck with my original plan. We were going to watch a movie starring Reg Park, who was Arnold Schwarzenegger's like idol. It was Hercules in the Haunted World, where Reg Park plays Hercules and has to go to basically hell with a bunch of weird demon creatures. There's people flying on strings.
Already better.
All kinds of stuff. I'm pretty sure Christopher Lee
Already.
maybe
Did I
is
hear-
playing the devil.
What?
Did I hear people flying on strings?
Yeah.
What?
Like people like he's in a dark in the trailer I saw he's in a dark room and there's like a person who's like painted in like a brighter paint and they're like flying at him, but it's definitely just a dude on a rig.
What? That sounds way better.
Yeah, that was my original plan, and then I thought, oh well, but this will tie into Stone Cold, so
No, it's
I
fine.
failed.
I'm jokingly angry. It's just it's over. I'm glad it's done, and it's a bad date, dude. It's a bad date. You got a fun story
He
to
owes
tell
you a
somebody,
blowjob
but
now.
you're not doing it again.
Speaking of Nazis, bad dates.
Dude, I'm gonna go watch fucking Indiana Jones. Better Nazi movie.
There's so many better Nazi movies.
I would say to Nazi this one.
if you were trying to recommend a movie with Nazis in it to someone, you could recommend almost anything but this.
Yes.
Like you
How
could
about,
recommend what's the
metal movie we just watched? The zombie Hard Rock
Hard
Zombie.
Rock
Rock
Zombies.
Zombies.
Yes, we already recorded that. That's next week's episode. But it's good. And it had Nazis.
Yeah, dude.
Spoiler alert.
Falling down.
No, there's.
That's one Nazi.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, spoiler alert. That's fine. Nobody will remember. That's a whole week from now. So next week, as we said, is Hard Rock Zombies because it was going to be earlier in the month, and then Whitney pointed out that Easter is at the end of March this year, so zombies tie into Easter.
yeah.
It's all a big theme. I like themes.
Who doesn't like?
Theme-oriented.
And we, like, as we said, we already recorded Hard Rock Zombies. It's a bonkers movie. It's a good episode.
I could tell you what happens, and you'd still be like, "What the fuck?" So yeah,
Yeah.
strap it in,
Strap in hard. Strap on.
spread it on.
I'm just loving this.
So check out our Patreon, patreon.com/worstpeople. You get bonus episodes. We already have The Quick and the Dead up there. The Princess Bride should be up by now, and you'll have another one next month. You're also going to get early access, I think is what I'm doing, for Jack and I's Han Took Shots First Star Wars podcast. I think it's just going to be you guys get to hear it first on Patreon, and then it'll be open to the public later.
Eventually.
But we'll see how that goes too. Maybe it'll be something else.
Look, I mean, there's other things that come with the Patreon. You are going to have any sort of request you want for the most part.
Yeah, you can send me messages on Patreon and request episodes.
If you're a
or-
Star Wars fan listening to that, you can request things like a topic for us to talk about.
Yeah.
I could do a fucking hour on starships.
So far, we've recorded 2 episodes of Han Took Shots First, and I don't think either one of them is less than 3 hours long.
Yeah, it sounds about like me.
Well, we'll see when I finish editing. But
It's going to be long.
you also get access to our earliest episodes. They're in an archive there. You'll get a newsletter every month that tells you what's coming up, so you'll know what's coming for the whole month. Plus, you get a little peep into what we're watching that's not show related, even though it might be eventually.
Yeah, I'm actually, when I do that, I try to omit show ones.
I mostly do.
I'm trying to show you, like,
there was definitely one I mentioned where I was like, this is probably going to happen at some point, but I had to talk
Yeah.
about it because it's just fucking bonkers.
It's just who you are.
But
as
I'm
a
not going to
person.
tell you people because you didn't pay.
Oh,
It's also only $3 a month.
I might sign up just so I know what you're talking about.
Look, $3 a month. You go out for a beer, you spend double that.
Yeah.
You go out for a domestic, you're still spending $3.
Also, when's the last time you went out for a beer?
Never.
I'll be right back.
Amber and I have tried to go out for one, but you can never go for just one.
Yeah.
Well, it always starts with, we'll get a beer. All right, I'll have one more.
And some sausages.
All right.
He can do one more.
But we have to thank Evasion for our opening and closing music. Don't forget to check out the website. You can find links to all of our stuff, including our Patreon, which again is patreon.com/worstpeople. Plug. Tune in next week. We love you guys. I'm Derek.
I'm Whitney.
I'm the loser.
And we just want to get fucked up.
We get fucked.
That's not what he says.
Just want to be free, man.
Please
I win, you guys!